This week on Coastal Fitness TV, episode 4, I talk about bridging the gap between rehab and fitness. We also show you how to start practicing with your hinge and what that means. And lastly, the tip of the week on taking the stairs. We hope that you stick around and enjoy. This week's main topic, I wanted to sort of elaborate on what we do here at Coastal and sort of the story behind how we go about this. So recently we've been doing more active rehab with through ICBC, and myself and Darren are kinesiologists, where we are able to facilitate active rehab sessions. And what we have done even before then was really try and bridge the gap between, as you can see behind me, between manual therapy and fitness and performance, because so many people feel like they want to do more fitnessy things. They want to get after it, they want to move, they want to push some weight around, when in actuality they really need to be doing more movement homework or things that look more rehab-y. But then as time goes, when they have been doing that for a period of time and they don't actually need to be doing those rehab-y movements, and quite honestly, movement is movement, let's just be clear with that. Whether it's for active rehab or fitness, you just change a few things and they're completely different. But what happens when you take that person who's been doing rehab in their mind for a year and you're slowly progressing them along this spectrum over to the fitness and performance side? How do you go about that? Through communication, through programming, through energy systems, and working around conditioning level and capacity. But at the end of the day, what we are really trying to do is help people find either where they are on the spectrum between these two, whether they need more fitness or whether they need more manual therapy, and therefore movement is the bridge between the two. And how we are trying to do that is through our community, which is sort of the overarching thing that ties a lot of this together. And how we coach movement is typically through education. We want to help guide you through that process, and that's what we do on the coaching floor. Is we're showing you how to do the movements, and then once you've done the movements enough times, you understand. And then a lot of times we really find that the accountability is a big factor with most people in general, not even related to fitness or manual therapy. It's really just it's everywhere. Working on accountability through your goal setting or for your goal setting, or when it does come to movement, of course. But that's why we're here. This is why we do this stuff, is because A, we love it, but also we want to help educate and guide you through this process. And again, sort of the whole reason behind this little main topic is I want to share with you just how we do that. I feel that we're in a unique scenario where we do this really well, and a lot of people spend a lot of money going to just this side, fitness and performance. They do personal training and they get their 4 sessions a week in, or however many they get a week. But what happens when they start reaching and nagging injuries and other things start to creep up on them, and then they start to migrate towards the manual therapy side, which is great. They need to address that stuff. But not every time can a fitness professional deal with that on their own, and so they typically have to go farm it out to somebody else, or refer to a manual practitioner of some sort. But then what happens? Oftentimes they sit in this rehab boat, or this active rehab boat, and they don't quite know when it's time to go back here. When you're sitting on this side of the spectrum and you don't quite know when it's time to go back, or vice versa, if you're stuck in fitness land but you have this nagging injury or issue and you're just working around it constantly and trying to find adaptations to work around it, it gets really, really tough and challenging for the fitness professional because there's nothing that you can do about it unless you have the skills for it. So it's a tough line to draw, or a tough line to walk. I feel like we do this really, really well, where we try and blend the two as much as you can between our fitness and our performance goals. And then on top of that, we have our own athletic therapist here as well, who helps incorporate the movement into the fitness and the performance side. The issue that a lot of people run into when they're on the manual therapy side is that they have no connection with what they're doing fitness-wise or what they're doing on a regular basis. There's very little communication between the two professionals involved, and so that's why, again, I feel like we're in a unique scenario where we have regular communications with our athletic therapist, with Darren, in order to impact programming, and vice versa. Myself on the floor, I can talk to Darren and be like, hey, you've loosened up a little bit, or you've worked on this specific issue. That's been great. It's allowed them to do this. However, I need them to be able to do this in order for them to progress with this movement. And so it's not just from the top down, it is a two-way street. And oftentimes there's a big link in the chain that's broken when it comes to the communication between these two. This isn't a complete picture, however. This was something that I just drew. It was on my mind, and I felt the need to put it into drawing, if you will, even though my bridge looks like a turtle shell. But I hope this provides a little bit more context around what I feel we do and what we're trying to do more of. And I hope this helps just frame it up a little bit better. So I hope this helped just frame it up and put some context around the coastal story and what we're doing. And I just hope that it cleared some stuff up for you. If there's other things, especially down in here, that you think that we do well, please let me know. I want to fill in more to the story and get it out to more people. So hope you enjoyed. For this week's exercise of the week, we are talking about deadlifting and the hip hinge. Now, what you're seeing right now is the hinging with a dowel demonstration. And this is where we start with a lot of people to teach the overall mechanics of how to hinge. Because once you can learn that, then you can get into deadlifting patterns where you load it either with a sandbag, you can load it with kettlebells, dumbbells, or the ultimate barbell. Overall, what we're really trying to get here is the hips need to move back. The knees only move to allow the hips to go further backwards, and then you're tipping over at the waist. What this is really trying to target are your hamstrings, as well as your glutes, and even a little bit into your low back. But on top of that, you're actually getting a ton of core activation because you have to stabilize the spine while also integrating the work with the glutes and the hamstrings. So overall, it's a huge bang for your buck exercise. If you're not already deadlifting in some capacity or hip hinging in some capacity in your program, you really need to. Otherwise, you're missing out on huge possibility for overall whole body strength and just coordination and health, especially in low back and spine. But overall, it's just a phenomenal exercise that needs to be in almost every program, if not every program. So this week's tip of the week is to take the stairs. Not for the physical burn of the actual caloric burn that you're going to get, but for the frame of mind that you'll be in after you take the stairs. Let me explain what I'm talking about a little bit better. The story behind this is the apartment building that I live in has the stairwells on the very outside and only accessible on the first floor. So from the parking garage, it goes straight into the middle where the elevator is, so it seems significantly easier to take the elevator and just wait for it and take it up. I live on the top floor, which is the fourth floor. So what I started doing, just to feel like I was getting a little bit more movement in my day, was when I got home from work, I would go up the stairs and take the extra half a minute or however long it actually took. But the huge benefit, more so than just getting more steps or a bigger calorie burn throughout the end of the day, or just more movement in general. But the thing that I started noticing was that when I took the stairs, I was in a completely different frame of mind when I got home. Everybody knows what it's like to get home and feel like you're hungry, you want to just relax, you just want to sit on the couch and watch some TV, or whatever the case may be. For me, it impacted how I viewed food when I first walked in through the door. For one, taking the stairs elevated my heart rate a little bit, got the blood flowing throughout my body, especially after a 25-30 minute car ride home. And it changed my thought process around what I needed to do immediately when I got through the door. More blood flow to the brain makes a huge difference in how you think and how you feel. And for myself, who is a nighttime snacker, or I feel hungry quite often in the evening time, and since I don't get home until around 8 o'clock, I feel like I need to eat immediately when I get home. This small tip changed the way in my eating habits, especially at nighttime. I was making better decisions. I was in a completely different frame of mind for the better. And so it's completely changed my perspective on the regular tip of you should take the stairs because it's healthier, or you get more calorie burn, or you get more movement in. And while all of that is valid, this put a completely new spin on this tip for me recently, and I thought that I would share with you guys. I really hope that it helps. Give it a try and let me know how it actually worked out for you. I'd be very, very curious how this pans out for a lot of you. That's all for this week's episode. Please share it with one person that you know is going to take some value out of it. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, or like our Facebook page. And we hope that you got some value out of it, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a phenomenal rest of your week.